Now for our story. It was almost midnight of the same evening after Nicholas Dorn had come to see Peggy, and Aunt Mary Lane's farmhouse on Willow Road was very quiet. Now, Peggy's bedroom door opens quietly, and the young girl appears wearing a flannel robe over her pajamas. She tiptoes silently down the hall, taps gently at Aunt Mary's door, which shows a slender thread of light shining beneath it.
Aunt Mary? May I come in?
Yes, dear.
I was afraid you'd be asleep already, but I saw your light was still on.
I'm glad you came in, Peggy. I'm not a bit sleepy yet. Oh, it'd be nice to have a little chat. Did you have a pleasant evening with Nicholas?
Mm-hmm. How was the picture, Aunt Mary?
Oh, it was quite interesting. Randy enjoyed it. That's the main reason I went, for his sake.
I know.
My goodness, we've all been so busy lately. You and I haven't had a little visit like this, and, well, I don't know when.
That's so.
I don't believe we've really talked for several days. Before Bill came out to dinner.
No.
Well, dear, suppose you bring me up to date first, and then I'll tell you about me. So to tell you the truth, I haven't a great deal to report about my doings. At least nothing that would interest you particularly. Did you, have a nice time the night Bill came out?
A nice time, Aunt Mary? I wouldn't say that exactly. But I'm awfully glad we did talk things over. You see, it was pretty important.
Yes, I realize that.
It was the first time since ages ago when we had a misunderstanding before Kit went to California.
I know.
So naturally there was quite a lot to say. Bill told me that he asked me if...
I think I know what Bill told you, my dear. That he loved you.
Yes, he did.
And he wanted to know whether you love him, too. Whether you'll marry him.
Yes.
Did you give him an answer?
I did, Aunt Mary. The answer was no.
I see.
I had to, Aunt Mary. I had to say no. You see, Bill told me he intends to get custody of his baby, if he can. Well, you understand, don't you? It's so big a chance. I don't think I could. To live with, to bring up Kit's child.
Well, dear, that's something you have to decide within yourself. I'm afraid no one else can help you face that problem.
No, I suppose they can't.
And I'm sure you've thought it through very carefully.
I have. And I know what I'm going to do.
What's that, dear?
I'm going to marry Nicholas, as I intended. I told him so tonight.
Oh, Peggy.
I want to marry Nicholas, Aunt Mary. I'm terribly fond of him, and I think we can be happy.
Terribly fond. You honestly believe being terribly fond of him is enough basis for a marriage, Peggy? For building a life together?
Yes, I do. We have lots of things in common. We enjoy the same things. He loves me a lot.
I know that. But a marriage can't be lopsided and succeed, Peggy. It needs to have two people who feel the same way.
But it would be different if we hadn't talked it over. Nicholas knows just exactly how I feel, and he's willing to accept it. Besides, I think gradually I'd forget all about Bill. Maybe I'd begin to feel toward Nicholas the way he does toward me.
It's possible. But it seems to me it's taking a terrific risk to bank on something like that.
Whatever I did would be a risk, Aunt Mary, the way it looks to me. But at least if I marry Nicholas, I don't have to fight against the past. We have a foundation of our own to build on. Oh, I did so hope you'd agree with me that it's the best thing to do.
I'm sorry, my dear. I can't tell you I do if I don't.
I see. Oh, Aunt Mary, I hate to go against what you believe. You've been right about so many problems I've had while I was growing up. But this time I feel certain I have to do things my own way. I told Nicholas I'd marry him, and I intend to. Just as soon as we can make the arrangements.
Peggy,
I know you don't agree with me, but...
Peggy, dear, have I ever, since you were a little girl, come right out and opposed something you wanted very much to do?
No. You help me to see my mistakes sometimes. Help me look at things differently, but you've never forbidden me to do something.
No, dear, because I don't believe people learn by being forbidden. At least they learn better by examining things with their own minds and hearts. Then when they reach a decision, they can carry through without doubts or without misgivings.
And I haven't any misgivings this time, Aunt Mary. Honestly and truly, I haven't.
Are you quite sure about that, Peggy? Now, Cynthia, can you tell me truthfully that you didn't have a moment's doubt when you told Nicholas Dorn you'd marry him tonight? Haven't had since?
Well, Aunt Mary, I'll admit I had one, but it's not an important one. It's just a question of emotions, not of what I think.
Emotions? But when you talk of marriage, dear, that's very important, isn't it? How you feel.
Perhaps it is with an ordinary marriage, but Nicholas understands.
Well, understanding might not be much protection to Nicholas. If you were married to each other and there happened to be something missing, something lacking in your feeling toward him, you might be hurt very deeply in that case. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you, my dear?
No, of course I wouldn't. But it won't. This doubt I had, Aunt Mary, really has nothing to do with that. Nicholas and me, our basis for being together.
Are you sure? If you are, would you mind telling me what it was?
Well, it's sort of hard to talk about, but I'll try. It was just that, well, last night, when Bill was here, I remembered when he'd first kissed me. It all came back to me as we stood there talking. It was before he told me about the baby, what he planned to do. Bill's kiss was, well, it seemed so right, so natural for Bill to kiss me.
Yes, dear.
And then, tonight when I told Nicholas I'd marry him, he kissed me. It was terribly different. Not that it was unpleasant. It just didn't mean the same.
I see.
But Aunt Mary, that's something I've always known, that it wouldn't be the same. It has nothing to do with Nicholas and me, our marriage.
Peggy, I've never done this before, but I'm going to now. I'm going to ask you to wait. Not to go through with your marriage to Nicholas. At least, not for the present.
But why? There's no reason to wait, Aunt Mary. Nothing's going to change. Bill won't. And Nicholas and I won't either. I don't see what to be gained by waiting. Really, I don't.
I can't tell you why, Peggy. All I can do is ask you to trust me.
If only you'd listened to your aunt's advice, Peggy. For though you don't know it now, there is a reason for waiting. The fact that the child which is an obstacle between you and the man you really love is not his child after all. And there is a possibility this will be discovered. But what good will that do you, Peggy, if by that time you have already married Nicholas Dorn?